this is how the game started a long ass time ago. Just a bunch of cubes and small representations of things. I didn't even properly code in the ability to unlock boxes. A little bit after that, we still were working on things, but whenever the player would walk into a wall and I would try to change directions, it would mess up. This is the version of the game where I was very focused on trying to fix the collision. So we created a separate collision object to make it so that, well, instead of the player handling things like animation and stuff like that, it's handled by the player's collision. Player as in objects, not the actual human player. In this one, you can actually see that I started adding the flashlight to it, but its origin point or something, I forget what was going on. Some reason it wasn't on the player correctly, so I had to manually tell it that instead of spawning here, not only are you not spawning correctly because you are too small, but you need to be right here, is what ended up happening. And this also shows that I programmed in the ability to turn it on and off, as well as programming something else. Every object that gets placed in the game needs to have a code that it gets parented to a object that has the code in it, because if it's just an everyday object, then it doesn't need to worry about things. But later on, I actually need to clean this up a bit more. This is also where I am actually missing the in between this and the last version of the game, where it shows that the camera system wasn't fully implemented, but it's still there. And that brings us to today. Not only do we have everything that was talked about and it's been improved heavily, but we also have effects going on for the cameras. It's actually been a long road learning Game Maker and trying to ask people online for help. Most of the time they don't respond. Who would, honestly? But eventually you find the right tutorial that tells you the exact information that you need, and then you implement it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then you have to figure out why. Typically, it's something incredibly easy, like, did I forget to set this as a solid? Did I forget to turn the room viewports off? Did I remember to parent this to that object? Stuff like that. Like if a code doesn't work, don't assume that it's the harder answer. Check to see if the easiest shit is set. Yesterday, the things that I got done was implementing a system that would act as camera room types that had effects inside of them. I had to create a few objects called OBJ camera box set FX, which also ran the OBJ camera set FX script. This script is placed in the room by the player collision the moment that the player animations spawn. I'm going to set it so it happens right before it, just to ensure that it's the first thing that happens. Along with that, I need around like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, I don't know. Did I ever get around to doing snow? I don't know. Zelda transition cam box types. The screen effects are subject to change on my whim, because I will not be retaining the current placeholder fog or the current placeholder rain. I will be making rain myself. Later on, there will also be, I can figure this out. This one I actually might go online and see if somebody else already did it too. Random generated rain graphics. That way there's a sense of uniqueness. Like, I want it so every time the player exits a place and then they go into an area where it's raining, that the rain doesn't always maintain the exact same look. In Zelda: A Link to the Past, how they did their rain is they would have a room off of the map, and this room had the rain graphics. And then they would trigger an overlay inside of the Zelda game, which then provides the rain effects when needed. The thing is that the rain box is the exact same rain box, and every single time you go to a new screen, well, it was raining, you would see the exact same pattern of raindrops, and to a person like me who notices that kind of shit, it's like, oh, that's not that great. So we'll be doing that. We'll also be creating later on fog graphics. With this one, I'm kind of on the fence about, because first of all, I don't know how I'm going to create the fog. I have two ideas. Either I'm going to make tiles that animate the fog, which would mean that I would have to create a program similar to the rain, but then at the same time, I don't know how to specifically tell it to follow a design, and that might cause graphic glitches that I cannot fix because I have not the skills later on. Or I can create a giant room that is 720p times 3 diagonally times 3 vertically, and every single one of these rooms in that scenario would have a collection of fogs, and the randomness would be picking which one goes where. This would have a chance of showing the same fog wherever the player is. And I'll look up things online and try to draw inspiration from what other people did to tackle this. I might be making the problem harder than it already is. I don't think I'm going to get into random generation stuff too easily because I am not ready to learn about Permian noise. That's a Minecraft thing, god damn it. Each cam box sets the starting defaults, and this way switches or actors can alter the cam box. That's the example I shared yesterday, where the character can act upon the cam boxes, changing it from pure darkness to light. Let's see here. The cam box's parent types are OBJ Cambox Trans types, then OBJ Cambox Trans, which handles the transitional code, and then OBJ Cambox Basic. And it's done this way so that I don't have to have multiple instances of the same code running. It could just draw upon the Cambox code, and then the trans code draws upon the Cambox code, and then all of the trans types, which are rain, darkness, snow, what have you, draw upon each one of those because they're parented to each other. And so I'm happy about that. I found out a way to avoid having to write unnecessary code. Yay! This is today's goal. Since I didn't get to finish yesterday's main goal, I instead got a bunch of effects done. Directional ZTrans room-to-room panning. When the player exits a room, the next OBJ ZTrans dictates the style of the panning. That's gonna... I foresee several things that are going to go wrong with this. One of them is if the player is going at an angle into the room, then that's probably going to cause a problem. So I'm going to have to account for that. My first instinct when designing this next part is to design it so it detects which direction the player is going into the next room. The problem is if it uses a horizontal and vertical detection and the player is walking at a diagonal, and it's a diagonal, but it's a diagonal up motion, then the transition's going to happen like this. And it's going to be bad, because then you're stuck between transitions and potentially you're stuck in the wall. It needs to only detect left and right when going left and right. It needs to only detect up and down when going up and down. In Zelda A Link to the Past, you can, in fact, walk into a loading zone at an angle, and it will push Link into the next camera zone. If you walk sideways into the next room, and it works perfectly fine. And the cool thing is that it detects where to place him afterwards. God damn it, Zelda, shut the fuck up for a second. It detects from which side this is happening, as well as shows where the character comes into the screen. So it's really hard to show this properly, but it pauses, then loads the next area. The overlays for the rain continue to animate, though. Everything takes a split second to pause and then load the next area. They brought me food. code, and he made it look nice.
This snap is brought to you by boot.dev. I'm not sponsored.
Here's how it's doing so far. The desire was to create a Zelda transition from one camera room to the next, and some of those to have effects. And I'm just using Zelda Minish Cap as a background right now. So, right there, we can actually see that the transition from a normal camera OBG cam box green original does not work. Oh boy, here we go. Go up and fade transition, and then like it does like this weird thing where for a split instant it for some reason tracks to the middle of the screen rather than detecting where my player is, and I don't know what that is all about. Then you go down and there's no transition at all, it just goes right to it. So transition, no transition, transition, no transition. In the inside of the here we go. Inside of this is a dark room, 2 rain transitions. That means that it's rain transition that's messing up. Okay. Then we go over here. Pause. No pause whatsoever. No transition. So that means that it's this room's fault. Then we go over here, and the transition works fine. And now it works. I don't even know what the fuck. I'm gonna test something before I assume the worst. Like I said, simple fixes. This transition works, and I have no idea if... because I can't see it. Like, okay, the fade works, that's great. And if you look, it actually does the Zelda walk-down thing, which I like. Okay, cool, awesome, that part works. Transition doesn't work. Transition does work. What the fuck's even happening? I woke up again because Thor was coughing like a madman.
You have a letter?
Oh, that's great. Come over here and see what I do.
No! Oh, that's weird.
What's weird?
Yeah.
Jury summons. I have a jury summons?
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to show you something. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but I'm going to zoom the camera in, and the moment that the screen pops up, you're going to see it. Okay, maybe not this time. Do you see it? For some reason, the screen is doing a weird tear effect. No idea what the hell that's all about. And, oh, yeah, do you see that? You can see it really good in the trees. Yeah, what the fuck is that? I consulted somebody, and they say it's because I'm calling on 2 different math coordinates for graphics inside of my... I'll have to read their thing again. Dirty window. Sheesh. Are you ready for this? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I tested every single one of these 20 times, and I'm having some graphical issues with some of them. So, obviously, I need to edit some things, but now we can see that aside from some graphical glitches, which is hopefully going to be a whole lot fucking easier than having to write multiple different scripts. Like, look at this. This is the dynamic camera system. Fuck me, man, this is hard. Like, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire fucking life, and I fought cancer 4 times going on 5. Eat my egg!